It should say recording.
Actually, that light should go on, it says on air above.
It says record.
It says recording in the
No, it's
red dot.
flashing.
Perfect.
Okay,
It's flashing record.
very good. So this is Angela Jameson calling to order the meeting of the Charter Revision Commission Group 1 special meeting in the boardroom of Town Hall on Wednesday, February the 4th, 2026 at 4:02 p.m. Let's do the roll. Angela Jameson present.
Steve Case is present.
Chris LaBrace is here.
Joe Paulo present.
And Kathleen Corbett. Terrific. So item 2, the minutes, which I distributed to you all. I'd like to make one suggested revision myself, and that is item 2. These are the minutes of January the 28th. Do you all have a copy of those?
Oh.
Well, let me tell you what my revision is. It's not very big. Basically, under minutes, I wrote, Commissioner Parlow moved approval of the minutes for the January 21st meeting of the Group 1 CRC meeting. I should have added, comma, as revised during the meeting.
Okay,
That's all I want to suggest. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay. Any other suggestions? No, so could I hear a motion to approve, please?
So moved. Second.
And, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did we
Okay.
want to do the January 26th meeting also, the minutes from that?
Good.
Chris had said that. The 26th was Monday with the Inland Wetlands Commission.
Oh, right.
Okay, well, it says under item 2, review of draft minutes of the previous meeting. I think that could cover meetings.
Yeah.
So, do you want to?
You want to wait?
No, but I am going to abstain, so maybe you'd like to,
No, I
Yeah,
thought
they
they
like
were
to-
very thorough and very to the point, and I thought it was very well done.
I was comfortable with them. I think I indicated that in a text or an email message.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see my message?
I did not see an email message with respect to the minutes.
Do you want to? I have-
No, I approved them. I wrote back, I approved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I didn't see it. I sent it to IT and then to the
Yeah.
whole board.
no, you
Yeah.
did, you
So
did.
Everybody has it.
Everybody's seen it,
Yeah, and
so
I copied you guys specifically so you would get a
Yes,
heads up, so.
does somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All
I
right.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And
Abstention.
I'm abstaining as
Okay.
I was there as chair of the Inland Wetlands Commission.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got 25 minutes. Do we want to move to item 4, composition of appointed boards and role of board of selectmen and appointments, and
Sure.
make a start
Yeah,
on
give me
that?
one of those. I'm sorry, as I said, I
Yeah.
printed this damn thing out.
Let me,
And then I left it in my thing.
Do you want
Yeah.
to share?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
would anybody else like a copy?
Is it this?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm afraid I don't have a color printer. So,
Yes, this was a color slide.
No, it's all,
well,
it's just in blue.
okay, so just reprising what we talked about at our last meeting, and that is the idea of lowering the ceiling on maximum party representation on appointed boards and commissions, and also ways in which the whole Board of Selectmen could be involved in the appointment process. So I put together some draft slides that if we can, find a meeting of minds here, we could present to the entire CRC. So slide 2, it just basically sets out what the current town charter states.
Mhm.
And there shall be a minority representation on all boards, commissions, committees, or similar bodies, whether elective or appointive, in accordance with the general statute, chapter 9-167A. So that's as it stands. And then the next slide, slide 3, just sets out really in the table exactly what that minority representation requirement is under the Connecticut statute. And you can see that for bodies that are 9 or more, it's 2/3 of the total membership. And then there are specific numbers for bodies that are smaller than that. And I would just, in particular, like to focus on the fact that for a 7-member body, one party can have up to 5 members, and for a 5-member, up to 4 members. However, the Connecticut statutes allow municipalities to enact a greater degree of minority representation than is in the state law through their local charters. So there are, I think, reasons to consider why this might be a good idea to think about changing that minority representation requirement. Over decades, the party of the first selectman has often made it clear that they want to have the maximum number of members of their own party on appointed boards and commissions. And that puts the first selectman and the selectman of that party on the board of selectmen, I think, under pressure to think in terms of this seat belongs to party X and that seat only, or those 2 seats only belong to party Y. And that really limits the room for members, not only of other parties, but in particular unaffiliated residents, to be appointed to a specific board or commission. And it thereby reduces the talent pool significantly, because not only would it's more important that the candidate is of the right, in air quotes, party than has a particular expertise that maybe P&Z is in need of, for example.
Is that in practice what's happened?
That is in practice what has tended to happen, yes.
Because I mean, jumping ahead to your chart that shows most of the regular committees are not in a situation that they would be out of balance according to the current rule, even though many of them have 5 members. So it just, in practice, it feels like.
Well, let's move on to that.
Just keep going through this.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep going through it.
Okay. So here's what I've come up with, and this would be only in relation to appointed boards and commissions. I would not change the current minority representation provision for elected boards and commissions. You know, I think it's important that the electorate has its voice reflected in terms of composition, subject to the restrictions provided by the general statutes in Connecticut. So
What page are you on?
I'm on number, actually I skipped over number 5.
Right, so you're on number 6.
Yeah, now I'm back on number 5.
The
Sorry
reason
about
I
that.
raised the question is because if I'm reading correctly, under minority representation, it has elected bodies included, and now you're saying they're not. So I'm
No,
just
well, let me
thinking-
come to that. It
Oh, right.
currently is.
Right.
It currently is. It's elected and appointed in the current town
Right.
as the town charter is phrased. So other Fairfield County towns, Westport, Fairfield, and Weston, have limited the representation of any political party on an appointed board or commission to no more than a bare majority. So Westport's town charter states minority representation on boards and committees.
Are you
commissions.
Stacy?
I am Stacy.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm Steve.
You guys can sit here.
Hi.
We're just going through the topic now, so Thanks for coming in.
No problem. So Westport Town Charter states no more than a bare majority of the members of an appointed board or commission shall be members of the same political party. And what I'm proposing is that only in relation to appointed boards and commissions, there'll be minority representation such that no more than a bare majority of the members shall be members of the same political party. I would not say that in relation to elected bodies, where I would
The
suggest that it
voters
would
can-
continue to be minority representation in accordance with the general statutes. So that could be achieved just by changing the text under Article 2, -3. Alternative would be to add the clause relating to appointed boards and commissions into every section in the town charter that deals with a specific appointed board or commission.
I think it's fine to do it up front, but
Yeah.
I mean, is this seen as I mean, to me, this is important. I mean, this makes a statement that we're going to try to find a broad representation, which I'm personally in favor of. But
Right.
is this going to be difficult for the Republican parties or the Democratic parties?
Well, I think that it could be implemented over a period of years so that nobody is summarily loses their seat on a board or commission. And if you now move on to slide 7, you can see that there's only 2 boards or commissions currently where there is which would run afoul of the bare majority.
Yeah.
So my suggestion would be that this provision wouldn't come into effect, say, for 2 years, but we could talk about whether it should be 2, 3, or more years, or when someone is up for reappointment.
I should know this, but what is the term of the people on the Conservation Commission and the Parks and Rec Commission?
I think it's 2 years, but I could be
Okay,
wrong.
so if it's 2 years, then it will work its way through in the next cycle.
Yeah.
I can look it up right here.
Yeah.
Charters.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Interesting that EMS commission has it the other way.
What in the EMS?
There's more Democrats than Republicans.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec is exhibit Article 12. And Conservation.
What I think that this,
Well, I mean, there's 11 members of Park and Rec. And
yeah,
there are 4 members that are not. So you would want that number to be 6, not
yes,
7.
yes. But I think that there should be a grace period or a fathering period. But I hope that what this will do is to make the whole business of appointment less party political than it's been. It will reduce pressure on the selectmen from their respective parties who helped to get them elected to get their folks in place, as opposed to thinking about what's best for this particular board or commission. And the second part of this presentation, which we can either do now or after we talk to Stacey, I think would further that end as well. And
Yeah.
that basically, if you quickly look at slides 8, 9, and 10, it's really the first selectman who decides who the candidate is that the Board of Selectmen is going to decide whether to appoint or not. The Board of Selectmen do not look at all the candidates that have put their names forward, say for ZBA or
Right.
Parks and Rec. for example. Now, Wilton has established a convention whereby the full Board of Selectmen interviews together all the candidates for appointed boards and commissions. They do that in the executive session, then they move into a public session and they actually vote.
I personally think that that's a burden on the two selectmen that aren't full-time, so to speak. I mean, reading that, I understand the power of the executive in doing the appointment, and the selectmen, I agree, the selectmen should interview the proposed candidate, but proposing all of the candidates be interviewed by all of the selectmen feels a lot to me.
Well, that is the job of the selectmen. They are part of the executive. And it seems to me that
But
actually
all three
all three are part of the executive. It seems to me that the two selectmen that aren't the first selectmen aren't involved in many different aspects of town government. So I'm not sure I see this as a huge additional burden. I mean, Kathleen has been a selectman. Be interested in your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So thank you. I would say that even though it's not like 8 people are applying for the same position, so it's a very small number that might be considered. And I think more broadly, as we open it up and have a process whereby people can apply and send in their CV and maybe fill out a questionnaire and so forth, it's a process that I think all 3 members of the Board of Selectmen, it is their role to make the approval. So you do want to make sure that you have that opportunity to do an interview, understand who is interested in the position. And I don't think it's adding anything.
You wouldn't say it's
no.
adding to the
No,
other.
and it is the responsibility of the selectmen to vote. So generally, nobody wants to vote unless you do the homework. So,
Sure.
yeah, so
Okay.
I don't think it's an issue.
So if there were agreement that this would be an enhancement to the existing process, then you think about how that might be affected. Town charter, ordinance, policy statement that perhaps appears on the town's website. The town of Wilton does not have it in the town charter. It's not in an ordinance. It's just a convention that has developed over many, many years, and nobody seems to be able to remember quite when it started. It's just what they do. So I think this would probably be better as a policy statement on the website rather than being in the town charter or an ordinance, but I'm open-minded on that.
What part of this?
The process,
The process, the appointment
how one
process.
applies.
Not the minority representation, the
because,
appointment
I
process.
think the parties will continue to put forward their candidates.
For sure.
And then the selectmen's office receives a list of people who are unaffiliated, who say, I would be interested in serving on this commission next time it's an opening. So then you would have, 3, 4 candidates, possibly one from each party and a couple of independents.
But the opportunity is to actually post it on the town website saying, there's a position opening up and I'll pick Park and Recs commission. And you just describe the details, how often they meet during the year, et cetera. And then invite everybody who's interested to please apply, click on this link. And maybe there's a 2-week period in which everybody has that application. That, I think what I heard Angela saying, she's not suggesting that piece be in the charter. That's the process of how
Yes,
somebody
but
would be
I'm
applying.
thinking of the process. So do you think the political parties will go along with that?
Well, it does,
Because they'll want to put forward their candidate.
well, they
Sure.
still can, they
Absolutely.
still can, and it's
Yeah.
not their
Same process.
decision. It's not their decision. I mean, what this is trying to do is to
So
take
somebody-
some of the politics out of
So
it.
somebody who is registered a Republican,
Yes,
not particularly active, so it doesn't get noticed, could still put in their name, for instance, in a board
Sure.
and say, oh, I'd like to serve,
yeah,
even if they're not known to
Yeah.
the RTC.
yeah. So anybody could
Same thing for
apply
DTC.
directly to to the first selectman's office.
All right, fine. So, it's, I think the result will be, you might end up with more candidates.
Mm,
Possibly, and to your point, I think there'll be an opportunity where the DTC or the RTC sees that someone is applying, or the Board of Selectmen says, gee, do you know Steve Case? Would you like to talk to him first before he comes through the process? Would you like to give a second endorsement, if you will? Because that's always valuable. So I don't think, Chase, by the way, oftentimes you'll get somebody who reaches directly out to the first selectman and says, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And he or she might pass it along to the town committee, but doesn't
But
have to
otherwise,
happen
the
that way.
first selectman, yeah, okay. And
Yeah.
first selectman can still solicit people to apply.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, okay.
Well, we can float it by the I would think the next step would be to float this by the office of the selectman, because this would be imposing on them, right?
I would think the next step's really to present this to the full CRC.
Okay.
See if they're behind it.
Okay.
So I think as far as your wording goes.
Yep.
You don't have proposed wording.
Well,
All you have is what we currently say and what Westport says.
well, I do for the first part. I propose change to New Canaan Town Charter. That's on slide 6. I mean, I put in there that we could do this different ways, but
Oh, I
my
see.
own
So you
view.
do have it. Okay,
Yeah.
So you keep the first part of the existing charter, which is there shall be. So
Yeah.
that's an affirmation that there shall be minority representation in all elected bodies. Okay, fine.
And that's,
Second-
yeah,
Second piece of it says. there
that's the
shall
new
be
bit.
Minority on all appointed boards and commissions. Wait a minute, this is, you repeating yourself.
No,
There shall be a minority representation of all elected bodies.
on all
No,
appointed
elected
boards.
bodies. Oh, no, the first one says elected.
Yes, that is, but so you have to, if we're going to suggest that there's a change in relation to appointed boards and commissions, we should also say what we think should happen in relation to elected bodies, because that's currently in Article 2. So under,
Yeah, Article 2 as written says there shall be minority representation of all boards and commissions. Whether elected, okay, yes, I
Yeah.
see what you're doing. So you're splitting elected.
Yeah.
From appointed.
exactly. And I put committees in italics and red because I thought there might be some discussion about whether that should be the case. Committees covers a wide range of different bodies, and something like RPAC, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but people are there really some people are there because they have certain positions within town government. I mean, it's not just members of the Board of Finance.
It
in
is
RPAC.
just the board,
Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, then that would work.
because it's a subcommittee of the board. of Finance.
Right.
Pension committee
Yeah.
is different.
Okay.
Pension committee is made up of union representatives, the first selectman, and a representative of the board.
Yeah. So this could be a little tricky then, couldn't it? This particular provision in relation
Well, I
to,
think you have to stick
committees.
away from committees, because committees can be formed.
Yeah.
They're ad hoc,
all
I
ad
think.
hoc. I mean, we put together, I've been on committees where it just kind of.
Comes
we're gonna have a
together.
committee for this, and it's just one or two people that, selectmen thinks have some good ideas, they may be in the same party.
right.
I mean, I'll give you an example. When we first started having guidance from the Board of Finance, the committee was George Balvin, myself. And then we said, we ought to get another guy. So we added Michael Chen, who's an independent, who's unaffiliated. So 2 Democrats unaffiliated. Nobody jumped and screamed, oh, we're Republican. So, I
Well,
would stick away from committees.
that description though fits the no more than the bare majority of any one party. So
Well,
2
yeah,
out of
because
3.
Republicans have
Yeah.
Zippo.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's no one party. It's no one party. It doesn't matter what party it is. No one party can exceed.
Well,
It's true.
yeah.
It is the case, absolutely, under general statutes. But I would say, I would just make a recommendation to this committee that That's up for discussion, whether
Yep.
committees should be included, and we'll talk about that in the full commission. I would also suggest that you had somewhere, where am I finding? Should you reiterate this statement under every section where there is a board or commission listed in the charter, belts and suspenders, if you will, and I would recommend yes.
Okay,
And that's because if you look at each one of those articles in the charter, it does specifically
It already
say,
says it.
exactly, everything. It always says the minority representation. So if you're going to amend it here in Article 2, you're going to have to amend it where it applies on the different boards and commissions
right.
appointed.
So basically, we'd have both. It wouldn't be an alternative. It would be in addition.
In both, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anybody else have any, wording suggestions? Okay,
You might also want to just further check on those two where it does potentially impact it if it was immediate, and just see what's the remaining term
yeah,
on these
The,
individuals. So if there is going to be a.
Parks and Rec is a 3-year term. I just checked that.
yeah.
And the Conservation Commission is
now, that doesn't have, if you're going to switch over, do you have to put it in the charter?
it's only 2
Because
years.
it's only going to have it's gonna have a short life. That statement, right? If you
Yeah.
say this will take effect upon the expiration of any of the terms of the existing commission. So
Well, up to
that-
now, the town charter has always incorporated transitional periods, and you look at some of the clauses in there, and it seems like ancient history because the transition happened, 7 years ago. But I think that there needs to be some provision for transition.
It only affects the Parks and Rec because Conservation Commission is a 2-year term. Parks and Rec has a 3-year term.
But they're
And,
also staggered.
and they're staggered.
yeah. So we'll just do further
And- yeah.
evaluation of it and see what the impact is. And, I mean, we want to be fair to everybody, so.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so should we make a motion about what we're gonna do with this next?
Well, might that result though in some really good members group?
No. I think there's going to be
Well-
natural turnover. I think the net result will be when there is a natural turnover of a person.
Oh, natural turnover.
Yeah,
So if you have an incumbent that everybody wants to continue, and that incumbent is willing to continue, and it continues to have the disproportionate representation, what are you gonna do about it?
Well, if this were to happen, say on inland wetlands, and there were too many Democrats on inland wetlands, what I would propose is that the party members should caucus, which you can under FOIA, and try and hash out how to come into compliance with this. Basically, who's going to put up their hand and say, well, at my next reappointment, I'm not going to ask to be reappointed.
But what if
or
it's your
I'll
best
be an
friend?
independent. I'll be an independent.
Well, I think it's highly unlikely that we're going, yeah, but anyway, actually, you could have the whole board and commission full of unaffiliated,
Yeah.
actually, under the wording.
It
Unaffiliated. yeah.
wouldn't trigger this at all because they're
Well,
not
no.
a party.
This is
Um,
parties.
the other thing is if, and I'm not suggesting we're going to go forward with this, but if term limits are introduced as a concept to appointed boards and commissions, this might not be an issue at some point.
Did we get
Well,
legal,
good stuff.
have they commented on that yet?
They were supposed to last night, and so they're going to set it in writing. Yeah.
I think the next step is to, we didn't have any suggested edits, did we?
Well, there was, I think Kathleen's edit under the
Okay,
alternative, rather than say alternative, say in addition.
okay.
I don't think anybody else had any other edits. So what I would suggest is that we have a motion to take this to the full CRC.
Yeah,
With
for
those-
discussion.
I just wonder though, I'm still gonna come back to this issue, and during the transition, are you going to lose valuable members because you'd have to squeeze them in?
I mean, you could make a statement, no sitting member shall
This will
be
not apply to any.
any incumbents.
There's Tucker.
Hey, Tucker.
Hi, hi, sorry, I'm just joining in.
Well, that's a possibility. You could add shall not apply to any sitting incumbent.
Yes,
Hmm.
there, that covers everybody. It could go even to the next charter revision.
Unless there's term limits.
That's the term limits. But then you have to put term limits to everything, every board,
Pointed, yeah,
board by board.
consistent.
I think, Angela, it's important how we structure what we're going to vote on, what we actually say we're voting on. And if the motion is what I'll call a process motion to say that we agreed to move this forward to the full CRC, then I would vote in favor of that. I would be in the affirmative. If we're saying we agree on the content, that's a different story.
No.
So I would structure the motion as a process motion.
Okay, do you want to make the motion?
No, someone else can make it.
No, it's okay. You go ahead, Joe. You go ahead.
Why, is there something you don't like about the presentation?
Well, I think the most constructive thing is if we have a process motion, it'll move forward. And then we'll get the benefit of hearing the full body of the CRC, which I think is what you want to achieve. So I'm agreeing to that.
Right, but I
But
think
I'm not
all
ready-
of us, if there are great ideas come out of the full CRC, I think all of us will say, yeah, that's great. That is a very great suggestion. I
when
didn't
we
think
get-
of
when we
that.
get
Let's
there, yeah.
change the proposal.
Right, right. So I'm saying now we're not agreeing to the language, we're just agreeing to move the
Uh-huh.
document forward.
That's
So
fine.
I make a motion that we move the document
Doesn't
as
matter.
presented
Yep.
forward so that the full CRC can review it.
Sounds great. A
Okay, so
second.
who seconds? Steve, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Any abstentions? Kathleen, do you want to?
I'm not voting. I'm
Okay.
not on your commission.
Okay,
Unless there's a tie, then I can break the tie.
Okay.
very good.
Chris, did you vote?
I did.
Okay.
Terrific.
Well-
Okay. So,
Shall we go on?
yeah.
So Stacy, thank you so much for coming on and coming in to talk to us about the parking commission. Are you
pleasure.
familiar with the charter review process and what we're doing?
Not really, so I'm finding this interesting as I'm sitting here listening to everything.
Okay.
But I did pull the parking commission part of it
Sure.
and just read over it. But I do know that my understanding is you're looking into all the charter and the commissions and,
Yes. And
reviewing it. and
reviewing as well
Making
as
suggestions and.
and trying to come
possible
up with a
changes.
better way to serve the residents of New Canaan. As short as that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
Oh.
I don't know if you are aware, but I will be retiring on February 27th. So this
congratulations.
is
Your swan song.
my swan song, correct. Kevin O'Connor will be the new parking manager. So I thought it would be good to bring him along because he will probably be the one that you will be speaking to moving forward. With any questions that you have.
Wonderful. And you're getting up to speed now. Are you on the payroll of New Canaan yet or
Starting Monday.
welcome.
I've been on and off supporting
He's been
Stacy.
helping me out,
Full
I've
time
been-
on Monday.
Yeah, full
Okay.
time. And
Congratulations.
so trying
Thank
to teach him or show him everything and, it's a process.
Now, the way I understand the parking commission is you execute your duties in the town of New Canaan, and the parking commission itself is effectively who you report to. In addition to, you have a dotted line to the first selectman's office also.
Correct. So over the years, the parking commission has, they make the suggestions for our parking lots because they oversee the off-street parking, which is the parking lots. They also make any suggestions that has to do with on-street parking, but they could make a recommendation. That recommendation would be taken by me to the police commission, or the parking commission themselves could present it to the police commission. So it's always been the way I've understood it is Parking Commission oversees the off-street parking, the parking lots. They would make recommendations to the selectmen for any changes, for fees in the parking lots, for our permits.
And
Things
do
like
you
that.
provide input to the parking commission on that? I would think.
Sure, yes. So if I would suggest, let's say, a fee for the permits, and I would bring that to the parking commission and explain why I would suggest this fee. The parking commission would vote on it. Over the years, it's changed a little. A lot of the older parking commission members who are no longer with us, there used to be, they would take maybe the fees that were consistent with the current year and then make recommendations to increase it, make recommendations to maybe decrease it, keep it stabilized.
Fees.
So the fees. So that's the way it's always worked, and that's the way it still works. You know, I would bring to them a suggestion on the fees. Do we want to keep it the same? Do we want to raise them? And it is there, they see all of that and would ask me questions, and then I would take what their final decision is to the selectmen.
But your role is really more overseeing the implementation of what they're doing as opposed to making policy. Any policy goes to them.
Correct. If there's any changes maybe that I feel is necessary, or I feel that might be helpful to commuters, to the parkers, to the shoppers, I can make that recommendation to them. Okay? They take that recommendation. If they like it, then I could bring it to the Board of Selectmen. If they say no, maybe hold on, maybe change it. That's how it would be. I will always be bringing suggestions and recommendations to them. I am not the final say policy person. I am really just a suggestion or recommendation person.
And then the police department implements who implements? I got a ticket the other day because I hadn't figured out the downtown parking. So I'm at fault and I paid.
So those type of fees will also go to the parking commission.
But who implements, who gives the tickets? It's the police department?
No, parking department gives, well, both can give the tickets, but it depends on what tickets. Police can always issue parking tickets for illegal parking, things like that. We issue the tickets for timed payment of the streets and in the lots, permits, no permits, those type of tickets,
And how
and
many,
illegal parking as
how
well.
many parking employees are there in addition?
Besides me,
Yeah,
2 others.
two
So there's a total of 3.
other, great.
Yeah, 2 enforcement officers and me as manager and administrative.
And does the planning and zoning establish the amount of parking in the town, in the downtown area, or what's the connection between the parking commission and the planning and zoning commission?
So it's my understanding that because of the magic circle, now forgive me, I'm not totally 100% sure of this, so, but in the magic circle, the businesses in town don't have parking associated to each business themselves.
Right.
Okay? So the town has provided parking to the employees of the businesses in the downtown area. Right now, it's Locust Lot, Center School Lot, and the Richmond Hill Lot. We offer what we call free permit in those lots.
To the
Years ago,
employees
to
of
the employees of the businesses in the town. And again, years ago, there used to be a cost to these permits. Over the years, that has changed, but recommendations from feedback that I got from employees, I brought those recommendations to the parking commission, that a lot of employees or hourly employees and the cost of permits were very expensive. And to get them off of the streets, we felt that if we gave free employee permits to, in certain lots, that it would be more beneficial for the employees, get them off the streets, leaving prime parking to the shoppers and the visitors. And that feedback that I got from them, I took to the parking commission. They liked it. They made the recommendation to take it to the Board of Selectmen. And that's
The Board
how
of
that,
Selectmen
and the
made that.
Board of Selectmen agreed with it. So that's how some of the changes are made. With planning and zoning, if a, let's say, business does have parking or can provide parking for that business, but might not have enough or might have to have a certain amount of parking, and they cannot support the ratio of parking needed to that type of business, the planning and zoning, they could go to planning and zoning and pay a fee in lieu of parking. Okay, a little above what I can explain further on, that would be more of a planning and zoning question. But I think it has to do with the ratio of what could be provided for that business if that business has on-site parking, but not be able to provide enough of on-site parking for the type of business that they're looking to open. They might be able to pay a fee.
So I'm going to give an example. There's new apartments going up in the area of this, the
Burtis.
Magic Circle.
Burtis.
Yes.
Okay, that has nothing, that we don't provide parking for those apartments or those new.
You don't
We
provide
don't.
parking.
The town does not, because right now there's ordinances that do not allow overnight parking in the parking lots. Cannot provide parking. They would have to supply their own parking.
So the
But-
parking commission wouldn't even be involved in that. It would be the planning and zoning department that would
Yes,
establish the
yes, that
required
would
parking for
establish
anything.
the requirements for the building of those apartments. Yeah.
Right.
And again, that would have to be a question for them.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't provide the parking. So for that.
I mean, have you ever encountered anything with the current charter that has been in any way an obstacle to fulfilling your job?
No, I was looking over for it and no, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, like, again, the parking commission has always been open to suggestions and recommendations. They have made some of their own that I've had to bring to the, police commission if it had to do with street parking or anything. But they have been very welcome to any kind of suggestions that we have, because we're the ones that hear the feedback. We're the ones that hear, what's going on out on the street, what employees need, what, commuters need, things like that. So, they have always been good at listening to whatever suggestions we have
And
and
would
taking them.
you, if, like, for all the commuter lots, the Talmadge Hill, the
Lumberyard, Richmond. Mhm.
If there is a waiting list forever, would you make the recommendation to the town to do construction, to build more zones, or?
I
how would that-
wouldn't. That would probably be more of a parking commission
that would be-
recommendation.
okay. Just-
They would probably ask me, what do the lots look like? And I would give feedback saying, well, we can't move down on the wait list. There's absolutely no room to put anybody,
Right.
and they would look further to that. I could make a suggestion. We definitely would need more parking if you want to get more people off of that wait list so that they could commute. That, we do have, the wait list right now is such and such amount of people, but the lot is crowded. We can't get anybody in. So, we can't tell you how long the wait list is. And that would be a recommendation, from the parking commission to say, okay, well, maybe we'll make a recommendation to
their
add
role.
more.
But that
would
hasn't
be
happened in
their
a
role.
while.
That,
But the
the,
waiting list, there used to be a waiting list. There's Park Street used to have waiting lists, and Park Street
Yeah, there
was
used to be
converted, and then
years
there
long
was
wait
waiting
list.
lists to get in.
Yeah.
that changed after COVID. And we were able to bring down that wait list tremendously.
Yeah.
Okay, however, it has stopped moving down on it. I have about 50 people on the wait list, and currently the Lumberyard lot is full on certain days.
So it's fully
Tuesday.
subscribed, the park,
I'm sorry?
The lumber yard is fully subscribed.
Yeah, yeah.
So if people asking now would go to Richmond Hill.
And that has a wait list as well.
Okay.
So,
And then
yes.
Talmadge Hill.
Talmadge Hill currently does not have a wait list, but it is pushing the limit where,
Okay.
I think Tuesday there, it was filled up to the top tier,
Wow.
which is unusual. So, but right now it does not have a wait list,
Okay, is Locust the commuter lot?
No.
No, so that's just.
an employee business lot.
Oh, that's employee business. Okay, so those are the three
Correct,
commuter lots. Okay.
correct. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I feel the way that the parking commission is working currently is,
Working well.
is working well. Yeah, I mean.
And your access to the commission and back and forth. is-
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I
And
mean,
could I just ask, the parking commission's 5 members?
Yes.
Does that seem like a good number, or would it be useful if there were more or less, do you think?
I think it's sufficient. I mean, haven't had to, you know, feel that there's a need for more. There's, 5 is a good number when they vote on the tickets appeals. So, it's the odd number that's needed in case there's a difference of opinion.
Sure.
No, I feel it's been sufficient.
Okay.
It's been good.
I have a question. There's something I don't understand that I'd like to understand, which is when I go to the website, there's the parking bureau. And I was trying to understand how that relates back to the commission, and I can't trace the trail. So can you help me?
So the parking department is, we've been called a couple of different names, the parking department, the parking bureau,
When you
the
say,
parking office. So the parking bureau is really the department, me and the 2 officers. We are the bureau, for lack of a,
so the bureau is part of the department.
correct.
So
The bureau
and
is
you're-
the department. It's just another way of saying it.
The bureau is town employees.
Correct. Yes, yes. It's not the commission
It
members.
doesn't link directly to so the commission doesn't have any interaction with the bureau.
Well, they have all the with me. Yeah,
Right.
It's
Does
an old
does it
term.
report to the commission?
yes,
It
yes.
does. Okay.
Yes, because I am, my office is the parking
So-
bureau.
So the commission, in effect, manages the bureau.
Well,
the com-
Stacy, sorry, Tucker, Stacy reports to me
Yeah,
through the first selectman's office. In terms of, she reports to me everything from,
Immediate.
yes, right.
Let me just go back to my question. I'm trying to understand the relationship between the bureau and the commission. So when the commissioners get together, do they do things and interact with the bureau using their authority, or are they separate?
So they interact with the bureau. Well, they interact with the bureau because we, as the bureau, will bring recommendations to them from what we get, maybe from, again, information back from the employees. So, and we'll bring it to the
Right.
parking commission for recommendations, and that's how we interact. They are also our commission to hear our appeals. So if people are
Right.
appealing
Right.
tickets, I bring that to them as well. So that's how we interact.
The question I'm driving to is, should there be a statement in here in the charter that somehow describes the relationship between the commission and the bureau? Because right now, they don't, there's nothing, I looked in the ordinance and there was nothing.
That
And
associates us both together.
you seem to have, I mean, functionally,
we
it
have-
seems to me you're part of the same team.
Yes,
But
yes,
the way it reads is the commission doesn't have any, I'm going to use the word authority or management over the bureau. And I'm saying, is that really what we want to leave in the charter? Because there obviously is an association.
Yeah, but the bureau carries out the directions of the town. I mean, they're employees of the town. And so the policy is set by the commission. So in fact, what's in the charter is the commission. So we should be interviewing the commission. and
We
not
are next
necessarily the
week.
Yeah.
bureau.
We say the last thing again.
We should be interviewing the commission.
We're
and not
talking to
necessarily
them
the
next
bureau,
week.
Because the bureau simply does what they're told by the first selectman's office on one hand and the commission on the other.
The bureau is boots on the ground.
Boots
But-
on the ground.
right.
but to me,
It's like,
I mean, if there's
We
something,
talked to the fire chief and the fire commission,
yeah,
the
we
police
talked.
chief.
right, yeah.
Okay, the superintendent.
And the director of inland wetlands and the
This is
inland
the parking
wetlands commission.
Just maybe for clarification, just point
Sure,
out
that
where does the
all
word
together.
bureau show up in the chart?
Oh,
It doesn't.
It does
it's
not.
on the website, the way they name our parking department.
Who's
They say,
they?
or the website
The
says
town's
the
website.
parking.
Yeah.
Under departments, it says parking bureau
Bureau.
instead of parking department.
And maybe that's a question for the town.
To
Yeah,
just change us to
Well,
parking
we have three
department.
entities now. We have the commission, which we're involved in. We
Yeah.
have the bureau, which we know exists. We have this department that's sort of.
One and the same.
One and the
Bureau
same.
Department are
Bureau and the
different.
department
the
is the
same.
same,
Which is
same.
fine. But what I was trying to understand, since there's nothing in the ordinance about the bureau,
Right.
nothing in the commission, it looked lonely. It looked.
Is there something in the,
Doesn't say-
in
it
the
doesn't-
ordinance that says department?
Department.
I did
don't think
everything
so.
with parking
No.
that I could find.
Okay,
And
so
it's
just
an
no
island.
reference about
Yeah.
how Stacy
Right.
interacts. Forget what they're called,
Right,
department
right,
bureau. It's
right.
how, what is your title? Parking
Manager.
How
Now, I'm
parking
sure it's
manager-
collegial and it's productive, but just from an organization standpoint, it kind of doesn't fit. That's
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah,
But
Much-
Stacy, isn't the parking commission really just advisory for the most part?
Advisory to the selectmen,
Right.
so,
They
yes.
can't go and
advi-
change things on their own, in other words.
Not
They can
on
only
their
make
own.
recommendations.
Right, so it would be like a recommendation from us, me, you, after we discuss something, I bring it to the commission. The
Right.
commission hears the recommendation, either agrees with us, wants to change it, likes it, doesn't like it. If they like it, then it's like, okay, we're gonna bring this recommendation to the Board of Selectmen for final approval. So that's usually how the steps go in the past when I have done anything.
So there's nothing in the ordinance or the charter that in any way interacts with you. That's kind of what I find unusual.
Well, I'll take it
I
away.
guess you can say that, like, underneath the charter, it doesn't specifically say that the parking commission takes recommendations
Right,
from
yeah.
the parking bureau, or
It's
you are
just there.
correct in
It's
that. It
just
doesn't,
there.
yes, yes,
And I'm
that's
not
just the
complaining,
way.
I'm just saying. do we-
You are correct with that.
do
Yes,
we
there
need
is
a
nothing
line?
that says that we interact together, and some of the recommendations come from us that we bring to them.
I'm not, yeah, whatever the
Right.
line is, but
Right.
it needs to anchor to something, be connected, because
Well, I
right now.
think, yeah, I think you're raising an interesting point, Joe, and it probably is relevant to a number of other boards and
Police, fire.
commissions
I
that
think it is.
interact with town hall employees, and everything works perfectly well and
I'm not
very
saying it doesn't
amicably,
work
I
well,
know.
And I'm not
But-
to
advocating a
your
point of
point,
view.
it's
Yeah.
more descriptive in other commissions than this.
Yeah.
Right. So should we consider some
Mm.
sentence that creates a linkage?
I'll take that as a takeaway.
And what is the linkage?
I don't know. I'm
Well,
working, I'm
it's
trying to figure that out.
the,
Well, I guess like you said, yeah, it's the boots on the ground kind of thing where there's feedback or there's thoughts that I have after, or the manager would have, that maybe something should be changed out on the streets, maybe some fees should be changed, maybe we should increase ticket fees or permit fees or things like that, where we will take that recommendation again through Tucker. Of course, she would be our first person we would discuss it with, and then bring those recommendations to the commission, and then go from there to the selectman's office. But you're right, there is nothing tying us to the commission where we would be making recommendations
That's
to
my whole
them
point,
as
is
well.
two very, very important things. They work well together, but structurally,
There's nothing in there that
they
says
don't-
that
they
we
don't link
work
up.
together. Yeah.
Does
And
the,
that's our job.
Does the parking bureau manager, is that person a member of the parking commission?
No. Nope.
Is in inland wetlands, is the manager of inland wetlands a member of the inland wetlands commission, or are you inviting her as a guest?
She's not, I don't know, she's not a member and she's not a guest. She's an important element in the working of the
Which is an
Inland
employee
Wetlands
of the
Commission.
town.
But it's in the same way that Sarah Carey, the town planner, is a very important person in the P and Z meetings.
Same thing with CFO.
Yeah.
Board of
Okay.
Finance.
Okay, so, but do you go to the commission meeting?
All the commission meetings, yes. Yeah.
She runs
So-
them basically.
So this is basically one of these practices, traditions that we do. I mean, it's not written down
Conventions.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Convention, it's not written down anywhere. That all these people, in fact, get invited to meetings. They're essentially guests of those, right? But
She runs meetings, you draft the
yeah,
agenda.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
some people
yeah.
drive the meetings, but yeah,
Well, and the question is, it isn't just the parking commission, should this be codified across the group? And
I'm not sure what the answer
In
is.
some cases
If
it
this
is.
was a company that we were looking to buy, when we bought it, we'd immediately change the process and make it exactly.
We do a
what we're
process
talking.
document,
You would never
right.
tolerate this in a corporation or an acquisition. And again, I'm not advocating a point of view. I'm not suggesting it be one way or the other. I'm just suggesting it be there somehow.
well, can we do a takeaway that I'll try to draft something and we can review it next week when we do talk to the parking commission? Because we will go over their document next week
It's good hygiene.
Yeah.
It's good.
about the interaction. But, and would you prefer the parking department or the parking bureau or what would you prefer? Because this is going to codify.
Probably parking department, I would think.
Okay.
Okay,
What do you think, Tucker?
Tucker, you okay with that?
Tucker?
You can have whatever you want.
Tucker?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I think bureau was just a leftover word term from many, many decades ago. And I think we can move over to parking department. And that's how we refer to it. And I I think makes sense.
It eliminates one term.
Yeah,
so
I
that's
think,
good.
I must just say, I think it's got a lovely ring to it, parking bureau. I mean, it kind of takes me back to the days of horse-drawn carriages, early motor cars. I think that's lovely.
Okay.
Sorry.
I've always referred to it as the parking department, so
Yes.
that's the way it's always
In
gonna
honor
be
of
to
your
me.
retirement, Stacy, we
Yeah.
will name it the Stacy Parking Department.
Can I just, before are you done? I don't want to interrupt if everybody hasn't, okay? So I'll just point out on I just picked Parks and Rec as an example, their commission, and under powers and duties, Joe, to your point, it does say in conjunction with the town recreation department.
That's all it'll take to
Which
shut me up.
actually
Yeah.
is
That's
no
all.
longer called
Yeah.
Parks and Rec Department, but, so it's very specific about, so to
I
your
would be
point,
satisfied with that.
take, well
It just
taken.
needs to link
Well
somehow.
taken. Okay, if I could just ask some other, again, charter related questions. So one of the things I'm noting under powers and duties, and we're, this is 13-5, power and duties.
Oh.
There's a reference that says, consider, and this is the commission now, it needs to consider and recommend to the police commission rules and regulations as it deems advisable for the improvement of traffic circulation and parking within the town of New Canaan. I'm just curious, just to use as a more recent example, the change in the magic circle going from on-street parking, which is now being charged on Elm Street,
Right.
to free parking at the Park Street lot. And I'm just, if you can just, I don't know the answer to this, but I'm wondering just what sort of communications between the parking commission and the police commission took place on that particular.
That would probably be more of a question for the selectmen, because I do know that there was
Engagement of all those.
engagement
Okay,
in all of that. I know the parking commission was a big part of
that
this new
process.
initiative, yes. And I know the selectman was very much involved
Sure.
with sharing with the parking department. I can't speak to what was shared with the police commission
So
though.
I just, as an example, this particular reference.
Yep.
Which,
Which-
if
which
if it's
just-
applicable.
Yep.
That would be an example. of
Yep.
How it works.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, definitely there was some interaction with all the commissions
Okay.
on.
Thank you.
Other thoughts or questions for our colleagues? Thank you for
Well,
your service to
thank
New
you.
Canaan
Thank you
for
so
years
much.
and years and years.
Thank
And
you very
welcome
much.
to the employee body.
Thank you very much.
If I could just also
Sure.
say, on behalf of this, so Kevin is not a complete newbie to the
Mhm.
town of New
No, no.
Canaan and spent, 5 years in
The
town clerk's office.
Ah.
So is also potentially a good source of information when it comes to, how the town clerk operates. The chart, with respect to the charter. So we might see you again.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
All right,
An
Thank you.
invaluable help.
Pardon?
You're an invaluable help
Okay.
during
Yeah.
election.
This is
season.
this
We
is
we really
training.
rely on you.
I know you from from elections.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
both.
very
Thank
happy
you.
retirement.
All done. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great, so item number 5, revision of town charter provisions relating to the Board of Ed.
Yes.
Steve has prepared a redlined copy for
It
us.
has more red than, it's just inclusiveness. And I did hand out, I refer to it. The Board of Ed, as we all know, has its own bylaws. And the actual charter portion of the Board of Ed is really pretty slight. So why don't I just go through this line by line, section 1, and say the intent here. What I'm referring to here in the first section is the actual Connecticut statutes that refer to the fact that the Board of Ed shall exist in every town in Connecticut. It's section 1020, and that wasn't there before. And we will refer to all applicable laws, policies, and procedures of the Connecticut State Board of Education. So it's just referring back up to the state's level.
I think that's a very helpful signpost, actually. If somebody's looking at the town charter to understand how town government works, that's a good reference to have to learn where someone could go to learn more about the duties, responsibilities of boards of ed in Connecticut.
Just a question, has that particular section 10-220, has that ever changed? And you don't want to pick a statute that might change from time to time? So just if it's the one that's always about boards of education, perfectly fine, but just be mindful.
It is
of
about the Board of Ed.
Yeah.
Could it change? Of course it could, but that's the
The-
intent.
Oh, no,
We want
that'll
all-
change. I'm just wondering if the number changes.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so. From what I could find, this is
the
the
governance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have not asked the lawyers, but I'm sure the lawyers will look at this also just
Sure.
to double check.
Can I ask a question?
Yep,
On the town org chart,
yes,
I was very interested to see that the superintendent of schools, I guess Dr. Lutzy, reports to the Board of Education.
Hmm.
Right.
I found that really fascinating, and I just asked, where does it say that? That it does, because it doesn't say that in the charter. So I would just say, if that's what it is, I think that's such an important statement that it should be codified. If that's the reality of it. Which is,
I certainly don't mind putting it in.
it seems like that's the reality, and I just think that it's such an important thing that the superintendent of schools reports to the Board of Education. I would have never known that, and I wouldn't have even guessed that.
What did you think he did?
I thought it, frankly, I thought it was the other way.
Board of Ed reports to superintendent?
I didn't understand it. I
No, this Board of Ed has responsibility for the education department of the town, or the education of the town. They have supervisory and,
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I'm not challenging it. I'm just saying it's such an important thing
the
that
Board of Ed hires the
Right.
superintendent.
if we can just add that. for
No problem, and the
clarification.
powers, yeah. And duties, the superintendent shall, How's
Is that
this?
covered in the statutes though?
If it's covered in the statutes.
State
then it's fine.
statutes, I
Yeah.
could just double check that, just
If it's not
make sure
in
it's codified
section
in there. Yeah.
1020. And, when you're writing the sections 1020, let's use the formulation that they have throughout the thing, which is the paragraph sign 10-1, what it is, 10/220 of the general statutes.
Mhm.
So that we keep this consistent in the way we refer to it.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
let's check that. And if not, then I suppose you could add something to that effect.
No, I will. I'll check it. I don't actually think it's a bad thing to include it in here for the town, just to stipulate. that-
We're just stating what reality is.
Yeah,
That's all.
even though it's
What is
in the
Board
board,
of
the
Education
super,
shall be laid out.
just reiterate. The superintendent of schools shall report to the Board of Education.
Well, then that should be a separate paragraph.
Okay.
That's what the chart shows. Let's put it in the charter because we don't want somebody some years from now just changing the chart.
I mean, on that point, I mean, we can just nomination to the membership. This is just a wording edit. It seemed like too many words in the second paragraph. The third paragraph is, there's nothing in there now. And I just wanted to say the duties of the board are laid out in their own bylaws. And in those bylaws, I've got to believe the superintendent, they're right here, I handed them out. The superintendent of schools would report to the Board of Education.
Yeah, I mean, this whole section is very short
Sure.
for a body that is extremely important
It's 2/3 of the
for the
budget.
governance of the town and which has to be funded. And, it's a very, very large majority of the taxpayers' money goes to the school system. I wondered whether it wouldn't be, whether we shouldn't add something in here about election of officers, because every other board and commission, whether elected or appointed, there's something in the town charter about the election of a chair. Or in this case, it's an executive committee. I mean, in the bylaws, if you go to 9120,
They say they will.
they
have-
say from the members of the Board of Education, a chair, vice chair, and a secretary shall be chosen by ballot
Right.
at the annual meeting of the board. The balloting for each office being conducted separately. No member of the Board of Ed shall serve as chair for more than 2 successive annual terms. So I would suggest adding that paragraph to the town charter,
But
with the
remember-
exception of the term limit for the chair, because they have found it very useful on a number of occasions to waive that provision of the bylaws so that someone could serve as chair for more than 2 successive annual
But
terms.
when they were here testifying, they said that they said, oh, we'd like to have that changed. They thought it was in the charter. And then they realized it was in their bylaws, so
Yeah.
we can do this as a Board of Ed.
Yes.
So I think we're interfering too much into the Board of Ed. I think you've got to stay far away from controlling the Board of Ed.
Well, it's not control, just to
Oh,
repeat
absolutely.
what's
The
in the
more stuff you
bylaws.
say in here, the more,
Well, maybe to say it differently, is the bylaws can be changed. Once you put something like this here, it can't be changed for 10
Right.
years. And so, to Chris's point, I don't think we want to adopt something that is changeable
Mhm.
under the Board of Education guidelines. If it references their bylaws, perfectly fine, that's fine. But once you adopt specific wording from their bylaws, then they're not able to change them in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was ever the intention for the section that's Board of Education.
no, I think we have to be very careful with the Board of Ed.
Well, with that,
Because it's
the
really-
7.3 just refers to their bylaws. It
Well,
says,
Yeah, so 7.3, interestingly enough, as I just know, it says reserved. right?
Yeah.
It's some space.
I
that-
took it.
Yeah.
It was
I took
reserved.
it in the draft.
I,
so-
I hear you. I understand. And I just think the wording, the duties of the Board of Education, and it's not that they will be laid out, they are Like,
Yeah.
I would use a different word than laid out, but, are codified, as written and amended in their bylaws. Period. And that indicates that it's the bylaws that are driving the duties of the board, not the charter.
That's fine. And do you mind if we add a paragraph or add a statement that the superintendent of schools shall report to the Board of Ed?
Let's make sure that's not in the bylaw.
Okay.
If it's in the bylaws, we should leave it alone.
Yeah.
If it's not in the bylaws.
We should look through here to see what exactly duties of the board. I mean, I'm sure that amongst all the duties of the board,
Well, we can take a quick look. It's pretty
So
simple.
even if it is in the bylaws, putting it in the charter makes it more secure. Because the charter would be not stuck with it. So
Let's speak to Phil Hogan and Dr. Lutz.
so the question is, what substantiates this? What actually underwrites it?
So, it doesn't seem to be in the bylaws.
no.
So the only other place would be would it be in the ordinance?
So where is
Probably the
the,
state statutes. Maybe in the state statute.
Yeah.
Then it would have said it in the chart. The charter would have.
Not
Not
somewhere.
necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
So, statute.
See, the charter is very, very light on the Board of Ed, but. No, I'll do the research, and if it's not stated in the state charter, is the state ordinances or this charter, I will add a statement and I'll come back to this group.
could pull the chairman of the Board of Ed and ask him, what are your duties with respect to hiring and supervisory of the superintendent?
Okay.
Where is that? Where do you get that authority from?
If he's got it, then we just leave it alone.
And if he
If it's
says,
written.
oh, it's written, it's there, it's here, it's, then you report back and we'll talk about it.
So the duties of the Board of Ed are codified as written and amended in their bylaws, period.
Yeah.
Done.
In its bylaws, single.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a person.
Board of Education
The Board
is
of
a
Education is not
singular,
a person,
Oh,
it's a thing.
plural.
duty. Okay. And then the final is the amendments to link the practice of 30 days to that we heard about during the interviews to the actual bylaws, because we had a statement in here that it would be 90 days. And the one thing here that I want to point out to you is I'm saying that in the wording here, that the Board of Ed can nominate someone. Is that in fact true, or and then it has to be approved by the selectmen?
They can nominate
No.
someone for what?
The Board of Ed can nominate, the Board of Ed can nominate someone to fill any vacancy. Is
So they
that-
appoint, they actually appoint,
They fill it.
they fill it.
They fill it.
And in the bylaws, 9221, it says that if a vacancy occurs, it shall be filled by a vote of the remaining members of the board.
Is that in practice what happens, or
Yeah,
does the selectman's office?
and then it says if the Board of Ed fails to fill any vacancy, which occurs
Right,
on the board
then it
within
goes-
90 days. So this is the issue. It's both the bylaws and the town charter that are
They're not consistent with the
consistent with
state.
state statute. So I think it's kind of important that the language that goes into the town charter is really this mirrors the language that's going to go into the bylaws. And maybe it'd be worth touching base with Dr. Lutzi's office to see what language, or maybe talk to Phil Hogan again, actually,
Cool.
about what language is going to be proposed.
Can I ask you guys to reread this? If a vacancy occurs in the office of any member of the Board of Education, a nomination to fill the vacancy can be made by the remaining members of the board within 30 days after the existing member of the Board of Education properly files their intent to resign with the town clerk. This came up. They have to actually resign with the town clerk.
Is that?
That's in the current one now.
Yes.
That's-
And it
Does
actually happened this year. This did happen. This
Does it
fall.
actually say it can be or it shall be? In other words, I thought that if it
Shall
says-
be made. Okay.
It's
because-
shall, it's
shall,
shall currently,
yeah.
yeah, in the
Because
language.
can is,
Yeah, is weaker. Sure. The term of this nomination will be until the next regular biennial municipal election, at which election a successor shall be elected for the unexpired portion of the term. So it just leads until the next election. The official ballot shall specify the vacancy. That's all continuing language. If the Board of Ed fails to nominate,
To fill any vacancy. That's just be
Not
consistent.
nominate.
to fill, okay.
And
to-
the same actually at the top.
Okay. Okay. It's not nominated, to fill the vacancy.
Any vacancy, yeah.
Okay. If the Board of Ed doesn't fill the vacancy, the Board of Selectmen may appoint a town elector to fill such vacancy until the next election. The state statute that will be observed in the case of vacancies of the Board of Ed is Connecticut State Statute 707 as an elected body and Connecticut's General Statute 9204. I found those. We'll get the lawyers to check to make sure they're correct.
But why, okay, I could say, let's see, I mean, it's a bit convoluted here. So if the Board of Education fails to fill any vacancy,
Then it goes to select.
Why can't we just take the language from the Board of Ed bylaws?
yeah, I mean,
Except we change 90 to 30, and I think we should check with the chair, with
I
the
don't
chair.
think They have the link to the state statutes.
No,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
it
That is true,
fails
but
to
I
fill
think
a
that the
vacancy.
language relating to the vacancy is good.
the Board of Selectmen may appoint a town elector, and this already exists,
Yes.
to fill such vacancy until the next biannual election. And I would not, you could just say in accordance with Connecticut State Statute 7107 and 9204.
Okay.
I mean, there's too many words in here.
Yeah.
As much as you can stick with the current language, as long
Yeah.
as it's not incorrect, I would suggest that.
Yeah.
Once you start changing the language, if it says fails to fill any vacancy, keep it that. That's what it says. There's no reason to stay with the language as close as you can. And the only suggestion that I'll offer is that while 90 days is now 30, and that's what the practice is now because it's aligned with state statutes, anytime you put any number in there and something else changes, bylaws or the state statute itself, it's going to be inconsistent. And I would much rather say to be consistent with what's in the Connecticut statutes and be silent on the.
Yeah,
number
and
change.
it's 7107. Oh, and not put in the 30 days.
Not
So
put it in
just
the
say,
days at all. Consistent
within,
with the-
shall fill the vacancy as provided by
We can say
paragraph
30 days
7107
or
of
as,
Connecticut General. Yeah,
or as required by state statute.
that
and then
way,
you cite the statute.
Yeah.
if somebody goes to read it, they'll see the 30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the constructive step.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's cleaner.
Like
I
the
don't
old,
mind saying 30, but say the
Yeah,
overriding
or-
number is
or-
going to be what the state statute says.
To 30 days or as stipulated by paragraph law of the
General statute.
general statutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got my rewriting and I will make a best effort to come back to you with these.
So 10 years ago, we established something on the definition of published or publication. It says publication shall be consistent with the governing general statutes. Because we knew that we
Yeah.
hoped that within 10 years, they would adopt something and we weren't stuck with the way we used to do it.
We have that now.
Yeah, and so that under the same premise,
Yeah.
that's how you would think about vacancies.
I will come back with a new red line and post it in. I'm really happy that we had this discussion before we get to the actual board of it, the
Full commission.
full commission.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So,
And the devil's in the detail
Yeah.
with the drafting. It's not
So-
easy.
so no, and I just want to be consistent, and I know these are early on red lines, so what we're doing here could apply to others, so
So
thanks.
that red line did not flow through to the public packet, and I'm not sure why. We should figure that out, and I'll check with you
Okay.
later, but it's just the regular.
Yeah.
Yeah. the
Sorry
little-
about this.
No, don't be sorry. No, we'll just figure it out.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready to move on to agenda item 6, which is water and sewer boards.
Right, this is more, I had a conversation with a current person on the Board of Finance that just to understand the way the water and sewer boards are operating in effect with respect to the day-to-day. And historically, the water and sewer boards report up through the Board of Finance. And it's been in absence of other commissions that actually allow the water and sewer boards to report up through them. And we've heard discussion about a Public Works Commission that could encompass many of the different aspects of the town. And this seems to me a perfect example of something that could report up through that. And I think when I spoke to the Board of Finance member, we talked about getting the various, people that work in the public works area, the water and sewer area, to come in and talk to us. But I wanted to have the discussion here before I start bringing people in, just to see. I think this is a perfect example of what should go to a public works commission in the overall town. There's the Utilities Commission, which is beyond the scope of Group 1, that could be involved with that. And there's other areas of the town government that could go to that. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I have just a question. Storm drains, the water, is that the same as sewer or is that different?
Yes,
Storm drains counts as sewers.
I think so.
Okay.
But I was
It could be
wondering,
inland wetlands.
no,
No?
no. Wetlands are defined under state statute, and you either have a wetland or you don't have a wetland. And if you don't have a wetland, then inland wetlands is not basically involved.
But storm drains might be in the Public Works Department.
Right.
I think it's there.
Because they don't go through the treatment plant.
Correct.
This is the thing that has the little seal on it. This is property of the town of the.
Yes, it does.
They look like sewers, but
But they're not sewers.
well, some are, some
They're
aren't.
not treating human waste.
Like that's really my question.
I wondered whether perhaps the sewer and water boards belong properly with the Utilities Commission, because they
Well,
are
utilities.
utilities.
I felt that too, but then I've heard discussion of a public works department also.
Well, that would then make it like a two-step. You have to first get the public works for this to then fit in. But assuming there is no public works, just assume for the moment, the utilities is really I think a very smart place to put it
Okay.
for a number of reasons. First of all, we have a utilities commission. Second, it is kind of floundering if you kind of look at what they're doing. And I think this would give them a real reason for being and something really important to have as a central piece.
Yeah.
Because it's not really integrated into activities as I thought it should have been. At this point, they seem to be out looking for clients
Well, it comes and goes depending on what's the most active thing going on in town. I will mention that the group two is reviewing, as you know, Board of Finance. So this particular section is currently in, as you know, the Board of Finance section. So I don't mind that there's a little double duty, but let's communicate with each other so that we can make sure that we're interviewing people together. So
Is it the general thought process that wherever it goes, it's going out of the Board of Finance? That you want to take it out?
I don't think I heard that from the chair, and he's coming on, actually, he wants to speak to the group on Monday. I have to verify that the group can meet on Monday. We'll have to
That's
post
the
that.
chair of the Utilities
Board-
Commission,
No, Board of Finance.
Board of Finance.
he's
Oh,
following
Todd
up.
is coming back.
He wants to follow up with more specific
Oh, that will be great. Yeah.
input on the charter itself.
Which group handles that?
Board.
Two. But we have to post it because he wants to do something at,
Well, this is a pretty significant issue down the road when it comes to density of town. I mean, and this would really amplify the role of the Utilities Commission if indeed this were to happen, because it is a constraint, the water and sewage in terms of density, in terms of housing, and this has to be addressed for any sort of higher density housing, which is the
Well,
big issue.
it's both, yeah, but it's also a line of defense.
I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah.
also a line of defense against the overdevelopment of the town.
Yes.
Well, and I think it's an important issue that deserves a group of people that are focused on it. And I'm not saying that the Board of Finance isn't great and isn't focused on this,
Yeah.
but I just feel like it needs to go to a different group. And so I wanted to bring it to this audience before we actually go on. and-
What he's, I think, saying is the more you advance that, the more degrees of freedom the builders have to do things. I think that's what you're saying.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not under, the town is under no obligation to build additional sewers. It's not like there's a state statute says that, you have to extend your line, we don't. So if the town decides it doesn't want to extend the line, developers
That's it.
can come and petition for an extension.
Right.
The town could say, well, we don't want to do that.
Right.
so the Board of Finance currently has the authority to say no, whereas the Utilities Commission, I don't think
No,
has
it's only
that
advisory.
authority.
It's only
Well, but
advisory.
if they became the Water Pollution
Yeah.
Control Authority,
Right.
Then it would give some empowering.
Yeah.
well, they'd have a lot of power. They'd have power to
So we
say yay
said-
and nay. However, what they must, you must separate out from the WPCA, the taxing and capital expenditures part of the WPCA. So
Right, that has to go to the Board of Finance.
that has to go to the Board of Finance for approval. So you can imagine how it might work where the
Utilities
the
Commission.
Utilities Commission, which is now also the WPCA, and they could wear the same hats and just be two different boards, meeting at different times.
Right.
With different agendas, but the same people. They would, once a year, and during the budget cycle, have to review the sewer rates that are charged to town residents on the sewer system and decide what the recommendation is going to be for the coming years. So that's the so-called sewer tax. They would also have to, so that's one thing they'd have to get approval for. It's a source of revenue in the town. But it's a segregated source of revenue because it's not general purpose money for the town. It only goes to the sewer fund to pay for repairs and expansions of the sewer water treatment. So the water treatment plant, which is run by the DPW and which is over by the recycling center,
Mhm.
is a very expensive piece of equipment. And every once in a while there are repairs and they run, through lots of money. And so you get money out of the sewer fund to do it, or the sewer fund becomes the borrower of record for a municipal debt
So would this give bonding authority to the Utilities Commission?
No, the bonding authority would
Has to-
have to come to the Board of Finance for approval. That's what I'm saying. So, the revenue side and the expense side, which is both the capital expenditures to repair the sewer and the revenue, the collection of the tax, and any debt incurred for developing the sewer needs to have the approval of the Board of Finance. But you've got to keep it that way. Otherwise, otherwise you can't have an independent taxing authority.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, I think this is a tricky one that affects so many different groups within the,
I don't know. I think it just affects the Board of Finance, but
Okay.
then where it goes is the question. I've heard Board of Selectmen is one suggestion, Utilities Commission,
P and Z.
P and Z, there's this, and as Joe will tell you, it was once a separate commission.
Which one?
1935, the sewer
Oh, yeah,
commission was
yeah.
a separate commission.
Well, it's still a separate commission.
Yeah, but it didn't go up through anybody.
No,
Right,
it's in the finance section of the charter. But it's an authority all by itself. It is
Yeah.
not it is not a
But
committee.
in
of the-
1935, it wasn't part of the Board of Finance, I don't think.
It was a separate,
Yeah,
totally
well,
separate.
somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
It got put in there,
Yeah,
but it's you have to think of it as coincidental that the members of the Board of Finance are also members of WPCA. It is not, there's no reason for that, except that originally it was a taxing authority.
well, so who does the taxing authority itself, the the sewer commission itself, or the Board of Finance
The sewer commission itself,
is doing the taxing?
yeah, it has
Oh, right.
it has a meeting, and we vote on the sewer tax as the WPCA.
But it's all the members of the Board of Finance.
Well, because they're the current members of the WPCA.
So the question would be, if the WPCA existed under some other, how is that taxing authority then applied to? Is it just with approval by the Board of Finance or something? It would
No,
be-
WPCA, no. Well, WPCA makes the recommendation, the Board of Finance.
Okay.
Then it gets voted on during the Board of Finance meeting.
Okay, that was my
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
is a
okay.
separate thing?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
it's a
okay.
separate thing.
Okay.
So that
Today
wouldn't
it's
change
separate.
anything. They would still have to come up.
Yeah.
Just
So
like any
say-
other department and say, here's our revenue, budget, here's our expense budget, here's our capital budget. And, we want approval for this, just like anyone else.
And would that require it to be populated if it moved out of the Board of Finance? Would you have to then add another team to replace that?
Or it becomes part of the utilities?
I'm
Oh,
sure.
okay,
the utilities.
right.
I mean,
Well, the reason to take it out of the Board of Finance, there's all kinds of
specialists-
reasons, but the reason,
Expertise, right?
Yeah.
it's become, it's not just a finance matter anymore. It's because of all these developers, because of 830G, okay, frankly, and the developers using that as a lever to force the towns. It's gotten much more technical because, again, the WPCA acts as a bit of a line of defense. It's against, any kind of development. So there's more and more of the capacity issue,
Low.
flow, and all this kind of stuff that has to be studied and taken into consideration when you make that decision. And so I think one of the things that we have to be, being a current member of that board,
Yeah.
concerned about is that you don't want to leave yourself open to a legal action by the representatives of a developer that, oh no, you decided this wrong. And then the town has to go and.
Which has happened.
Which could happen, yeah.
It not only could, but has.
Well, yeah, it has happened, as a matter of fact, and so far we've been,
So you would need like a hydraulic engineer or somebody like that.
Well, you'd have to, you'd need really, people know what.
For someone who knows how to bring in a consultant. who's
I-
hydraulic.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
whether or not it would be better placed in a a Public Works Commission or a Utilities Commission depends a bit on who are going to be on these boards and commissions and whether there would be sufficient technical
Well, the
expertise.
technical experts that advise the WPCA
Yeah.
now are the town engineer and the head of DPW. And then the town engineer often hires an outside consultant on various matters to study and verify technical matters.
But what I'm kind of fearful of, that we kind of move it from the Board of Finance because we think it would benefit from greater technical expertise, and we move it somewhere else which doesn't have that greater technical expertise today.
But
Yeah.
it would be easier to recruit, I would think, if there was a Public Works Commission or a
Utilities
Utilities
Commission.
Commission, somebody with an engineering background or, something of that sort.
I'm one to think that one commission is better than two. So if utilities are already there and could become, advanced to the public works, that to me would be a better solution.
Utilities would need have to go to the portal to get some draft choices, I think, to build up to handle.
I don't know the folks there at all now, so I can't make that judgment, but it feels like that's the area that it should go to.
So when Todd comes back to group 2, you guys are going to talk about this water commission part. Yeah, so you'll see what he has to say. I mean, he has certainly a much better handle on it than I do.
I thought I heard him and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard him because we asked him the question. He said, I think it's fine as is.
Yes, because I think we all think we're hard-nosed enough from the Board of Finance to hold the line.
Right.
What worries me is if we get a challenge on a technical matter.
I hear you. You're not the only one that thinks that.
Yeah. So so you've got a good group of people there,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily the best group of people.
But at the same time, that great group of people might be hesitant to release it to something that they don't think is very strong enough.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, you'd have to assure
Exactly.
you'd have to assure the entire town
Yeah,
that what has worked very well and defended the town
yeah,
and provided for it,
yeah,
and now you're moving it,
yeah.
is not gonna just,
Well-
oh my God, these guys are.
This is
Yeah.
kind of worries me a little bit, because you might say we don't have the very best technical expertise, but a commission that is full of people with technical expertise may not have the expertise of pushing back sometimes.
Yeah. And you should have, you should probably have to get yourself a good lawyer on that commission.
So this is arguing for a
That's used
separate.
to, that is experience in arguing in Hartford.
Well, that could be applied to the current Utilities Commission too, because they're currently arguing the water issues and whatnot. Because their mandate is external, utilities that are external to New Canaan right now. And I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the discussion of WPCA is a difficult one, but it's one that is completely justified by the Charter Commission, and it's worth airing, and maybe we end up at the same place that we are now because that works best, but we should arrive there after we've debated it and really thought about it and said, well.
I mean, I'm an absolute rookie to this, so I don't have a point of view, and it feels like to me, the Board of Finance has so many responsibilities. This shouldn't be in the Board of Finance's, even though they have the taxing authority. And it feels like to me, it should be in a different area of the town government.
If we have the resource, if we have the
Yeah.
proper resource.
If we have the right people to staff, and I think we need, I mean, this town is so incredible in terms of people. It's recruiting the right people. It's not a question of if, it's how do we get them? Because this is a very important area for the water, the sewage, everything going forward.
It's moving from a financial heritage, I guess, to run a more technical engineering and even microbiology.
Yeah.
There is more engineering and science now than there might have been in the past.
Absolutely.
So what do we want to do as next step for group one on this?
Well, I think
subject?
we should have, we should listen to the conversations with the Board of Finance. We could have see, we're not doing the Utilities Commission. So
We can, absolutely.
Here
Yeah,
in our group.
Absolutely, you can. It's just because it's not in the
Okay.
current charter doesn't mean that we can't talk. We're gonna be talking to the Historic District Commission. They're not in here either, but
Okay.
we should be talking to all of the.
Okay,
Maybe
so-
that's a full board discussion.
It could be. I think it should be, yeah.
Yeah, I think we could, I think we
Elevate it.
would refer it out of here saying that this is.
This is a bigger issue than.
Group one,
big
group
issue
two,
because so
let's
many
take the
different-
whole commission in.
Because there are different commissions and it needs to be debated by the entire.
Yeah,
Entire
Okay.
I
group.
agree
And
with
just,
So
I
that's
know
the
it
next
sounds
step.
like
Yeah.
punting it, but
Well, maybe
No,
the
no,
way,
no, no.
the
I
main,
think there's two groups that are looking at it anyway, so
Yeah.
why not just elevate it to the full commission?
yeah,
This one actually has a downside if we get it wrong.
yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have, you're gonna have giant buildings in town because you gotta be careful as
No,
development.
this is very important.
Yeah.
For the concentration element of the downtown area. It's very important.
but you can think of scenarios where the composition of the Board of Finance is quite different in terms of philosophy and outlook. And then it might not take the same line that the current Board of Finance take.
It might, but you're saying that a different composition of Board of Finance would be more favorable to a
Could be.
30T development.
Could be. There are no guarantees.
So if you have two separate boards, you have, I don't know,
Well, let's take this up at the full
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah,
I think these
okay.
are all great questions.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so moving on, next agenda item, I think was, number 7, Article 1 of the Town Charter General Provisions. And we put that on the agenda just in case there was something else we still need to talk about. I think we do. Is that right, Joe?
We had the red line version last week, which we all agreed on with 2 exceptions.
Yeah.
The first one had to do with the town seal and the town logo. And we are waiting for legal input. It's simply a matter of clarification from the attorneys as to whether or not the logo gets treated with the same protections as the seal, or if the logo is something else. So that's kind of what we're really waiting for on that.
Haven't heard back.
We haven't heard back.
Well, that was supposed to come last night, but.
Right. So it's,
Do you know the answer?
Well, I got some clarifying information from the town clerk and Tucker about its use. They are both seals, and we just reference it as is there anywhere else in the charter that the word seal is used, or, I mean, why is it?
yes, it appears in 1 or 2 places.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
It says the town clerk shall affix the seal
Right.
on
So
some
the
document.
seal that's referenced in the charter is the legal one. So anytime we're signing a lease or contract or whatever, there is a legal town seal
Yeah.
that is under the town clerk. There is another seal that she describes, and I actually, you all have it.
Yeah, we all have that.
We see it, right?
It's the
That's right.
tree.
It's the tree.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
one that just says seal on it, doesn't have the tree.
But that's the official.
That's the official one. That's the
That's-
legal one.
that's
That's
the
the
legal.
legal one. And this one is, for all intents and purposes, used for, if there is a proclamation, the tree seal is used. If there is somebody wants to put the seal on all the park department trucks, that's the quote seal or illustration that's used. So Joe was the one who raised it first. It's like, is it protected? What should we be saying about it? The only reference to the seal as it stands today is the legal one in the document, in the charter. The question is, should we also reference that we also have a seal that reflect, is used for, I don't want to use the word marketing reasons,
No, we could
but
call it,
No,
we
branding.
could,
branding, it is representative of our,
does the fact that it's called a seal give it a higher
Yes.
level of protection than a
Yes.
logo?
yes, it does. Joe, can
Aha.
you describe that?
So we can't have, we couldn't just change this to the town logo and then put then a bunch of rules as to who's in control of the
It
town.
then becomes dissynchronous with, I think, with what Claudia was saying, is that it's a seal. It's a, you know, if it's a seal, it's a seal, and seal is the better word. Seal is the protected word. Logo is just decorative.
Okay, so, but the seal is actually an instrument, right? I mean, if I remember, I mean, right, she has an instrument.
Boom boss, yeah.
It's embossed,
Yeah.
and that's the official, and that's why it's in the vault, et cetera. And this other one with the tree, does that also have an?
Yeah, you got it right here.
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
right.
I'm just
Good.
concerned about the practicality
Yeah,
of
because
this
it gets used a lot.
other seal. Let's just call it the logo for a moment to make it easier. The practicality of the logo, use of the logo needing to be approved by the town clerk's office, which has many, many responsibilities and record keeping issues. And, you know, you can think about it. It's town businesses that perhaps want to use the logo and they're looking for a speedy response.
Mhm.
I would, I think, be content with approval of using the town logo being with the first selectman's office.
Well, let me just say, it currently is under the town clerk, and she's told me if anybody ever came and said, I'd like to put that logo, the tree logo, Town of New Canaan, on my menu at the restaurant, that would go up to the first selectman, there'd be a discussion, and then there would be a decision. So that's not codified anywhere, that's a practice, and that's what the town clerk told me, that's how she does it. And if we want to codify that in an ordinance or codify that in just a best practice or what have you, I'm afraid if you put it in a charter and somebody says, you know, the tree's been lovely, let's move to another logo, you've now just buried it in the charter for the next 10 years with no ability to make that change.
If it winds up in the ordinance, that's fine. The intent of the discussion was over the years, there's been times when some people or organizations have used the seal or logo to imply endorsement or officiality that really wasn't there. And it became newspaper stories, you could see it. So the idea was to basically protect our brand. Because, you know, if you ask the question, we have brand equity, as does, you know, Microsoft, when they put their name on something.
You
or
can,
Apple computer. You put Apple on your menu and see what happens. So that's the idea. The idea is to protect our brand. And it doesn't
Well,
mean,
I think the natural place to do that is the first selectman's office, so.
then if that's where it goes, that's where it goes. But it needs to say, what we're suggesting is that no one can use it without the approval of the first selectman.
And town
That,
clerk,
what?
and town clerk, does anybody?
And town clerk.
I would
Fine.
say.
I don't see any
But you don't want third parties using our brand. That's,
No, I
That-
think it's
that's-
good. I think it's good. And you've identified other towns that do have some cases too, right? The logo and.
yes,
the-
other towns, I've given you an example, have
Right.
very specific
Yeah.
things of what you can and can't do, and even go as far as to describe what is the logo
And are they in the charters?
in the charter.
Okay,
It says it will be round, it will be so many inches, the line will be so thick.
I mean,
And-
let's share that. Everybody saw
Oh,
that?
I've given that out.
Okay.
We had that.
Yeah, we've said it. So maybe next time, at the next meeting, let's take a stab at putting that into section one.
And
I'd
we'll see
like
the,
to.
and we'll see the legal.
I want to see the legal
Yeah.
first, and then
Yeah.
based on
And just
that,
like-
Okay, so as soon as you get your legal,
we
then
can
we'll
write
bring
it.
it back up. We'll try to wrap it up.
Pretty easy to write once we know.
Yeah, because you
Sure.
already have good language proposed, so we should be able to reach a
Yeah.
conclusion.
I don't see anything from him just yet, so.
So once we know what we can do, we can put it in. And the idea is where it's protected, as long as my point is, as long as it's protected. Who protects it is not.
Well, I think we've just decided that it's the clerk and the select.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so the last item is future interviews and agendas.
Wait, I have one
I'm
more
sorry, I'm sorry.
There was a second point raised last week on the last item on decommissioning commissions that the town council.
Oh, yeah.
And we had language in there which was really a pickup of the language for commissioning, just reversing it and saying it would be decommissioned. Kathleen suggested there might be other language in the ordinance. I've checked, there is no other language that I can find. Logically, there probably wouldn't be, because the only group that would have the authority to decommission would be the town council. So that basically, I'm suggesting just stays as is. And then all we're down to is just the seal, just the sign of the seal.
I think you're far enough along that you can start to elevate that to the full commission if you're
Okay.
willing.
I'd like to just see legal
Sure, sure,
before,
sure.
because
I understand.
I have my own questions that if they're not an issue, then they're fine, but I think I just want to see what they say. Once they sign off on it, you can have it within an hour.
Okay, item number 8, future interviews and agenda. So the next meeting is the 13th. Is that,
And the 11th,
oh, the 11th, sorry, February the 11th,
and we have the parking commission.
Parking Commission, and, yep. And what,
What
I
time
guess-
is that? What time is that?
4:30, right?
or do we want to make that 4? I could make 4 if you want.
Don't mind.
That doesn't matter to me.
I'd prefer early.
Yeah, okay, let's do 4 o'clock meeting then. We've got a lot to talk about.
I will come back with the red lines of the Board of Ed.
Board of Ed, red line.
And I'll take a stab at the wetlands. I don't think there's much to change there,
Yeah,
so.
And
We'll just add the language about the board representation.
the water and sewer is going to go to the full.
Yeah, right now, the chair has just said he'd reach out to me, but I'd like to make it as broad as possible. But he has to use a certain Microsoft Teams from his office, and I don't know that he can do, I'll figure it out, but you'll be seeing a notification. We can
Okay.
get that to be a public meeting.
okay, and I think we better have Article 1 on the agenda again, because
Yeah, we need to
Joe,
wrap it up.
yeah,
If we get the legal, I can write what we discussed. It would be pretty simple,
yeah,
but
we should discuss it.
we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have the legal by then.
Okay, I will be joining by Zoom because I'll be in Florida.
Good for you.
Yeah,
Yep.
good for you.
So who would like to be responsible for putting the agenda together and then doing the minutes of the next meeting?
I could.
Hmm?
I'll do it.
You sure?
Don't all raise your hands.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I
Oh,
just
well,
wait
that's
a minute.
nice
Thank
of
you,
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Chris. Yeah. Terrific. Okay. So I guess we just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Steve Case, who wants to second that? Oh, okay, Chris, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
And, I have a technical, now, I got to stop the recording.
Yes, I had to do that.
Oh, please. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, somebody will have to do that because I have no idea how that.
Well, downstairs, I know how to do it.
Yeah,
Where